Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, family. Welcome to the Mental House Sports Edition. I'm back one day after my birthday, and to each and every one of you who wish me a happy born day, I appreciate that and thank you for the well wishes. Every year I think about Dr. King at 7:05 p.m. April 4th was when he was gunned down, and that makes my birthday a little more reflective for me, I think. And so I usually don't engage in a lot of activities when people ask me what I do. It's really a day of simple reflection. Um, and I always like to see it engage where I'm at emotionally and mentally. And I pay homage to one of the greatest human beings spiritually who has graced our planet, and that is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, with that being said, happy birthday, belated birthday to me. And I came into the world, and he left the world. Okay, so now, enough of that. I just wanted to make sure that I said that. It's very important. Now, let's get on to the real stuff and the lesson at hand today. Today I want to talk about something that we call dissociative disorders. Now you might say, now what the hell is a dissociative disorder? Okay, well let me give you the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill's definition, version of what this disorder is about. All right, bear with me. Dissociative disorder are characterized by an involuntarily escape from reality, characterized by a disconnection between thoughts, identity, consciousness, and memory. People of all age groups, racial, ethnic, and social economic backgrounds can experience dissociative disorder. It estimated that 2% of people experience dissociative disorders, with women being more likely than men to be diagnosed. Almost half of adults in the United States experience at least one depersonalization, derealization episode in their lives, with only 2% meeting the full criteria for a chronic episode. The symptoms of dissociative disorder usually first develop as a response to a traumatic event, such as abuse or military combat. To keep those memories under control, you got to kind of disassociate, right? Stressful situations can worsen symptoms and cause problems with dysfunctioning in everyday activities. However, the symptoms of a person's experiences will depend on the type of dissociative disorder that the person has. Okay? Treatment for dissociative disorders often involves psychotherapy and medication. Though finding an effective treatment plan can be difficult, many people are able to live healthy and productive lives. Now, check this out. I'm going to give you the symptoms, because once you feel the symptoms, you're going to be like, damn, have I disassociated before? Am I disassociative now? What the hell is really going on? All right, well, let's go to church on this, y'all. Significant memory loss or specific times, people, times, and events. Out-of-body experiences, such as feeling as though you are watching a movie of yourself. Oh, yes, I have had a lot of out-of-body experiences. Okay, mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, thoughts of suicide. No, not me, but it's out there. A sense of detachment from your emotions or emotional numbness. Lack of sense of identity. The symptoms of dissociative disorders depend on the type of disorder that has been diagnosed. There are 3 types of dissociative disorders defined in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Of course, dissociative amnesia. Hold on, people. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let me say this too before y'all all jump down my throat, and I very well better define this. Let me say that everybody that has an out-of-body experience is not suffering, as I wouldn't put it in the category as a dissociative disorder. There are people who meditate a lot, and there are people who connect with the spiritual aspect of themselves, and to have an out-of-body experience is not really that unique. And sometimes when you're really engulfed in your writing music, or you're really engulfed in, again, a oneness, it could be maybe you had a death in the family, maybe you are approaching death and are not consciously aware of it. There are some states and instances in your life where your spirit will come out and bear witness to your physical body. And so some things I reserve for just another vibrational level. But it doesn't have anything to do with somebody having a disorder. It just may be something that lay people and even therapists that operate in only a carnal world don't understand those spiritual concepts. So I leave that alone. I leave it to that. So again, those of you who have experienced out-of-body experiences, or feel as though you're watching yourself, they may clinically call that a dissociative disorder, but there's a lot of times in the spiritual realm that is a welcome catalyst for you knowing that you are separate from your body. And that's just something that Western medicine and Western psychology and they're just not versed in those kind of concepts. Okay, so let's just move on. So anyway, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, the Bible for these therapists, they list 3 types of dissociative disorders. Okay, one is called dissociative amnesia. Now, the main symptom is difficulty remembering important information about oneself. Okay, y'all already seen those, shows where a person they don't know who the hell they are, and they're just like, who am I? What am I? What am I doing here? Dissociative amnesia may be surround a particular event, such as a combat or abuse, more rarely information about identity and life history. The onset for an amnesic episode is usually sudden, and an episode can last minutes, hours, days, or rarely months or years. There is no average for age onset or percentage, and a person may experience multiple episodes throughout their lives. Okay, depersonalization disorder. This disorder involves ongoing feelings of detachment from actions, feelings, thoughts, and sensations as if they are watching a movie. Sometimes, that's called depersonalization. Sometimes other people and things may feel like people and things in the world around them are unreal. Derealization is what they call that. A person may experience depersonalization, derealization, or both. Symptoms can last just a matter of moments or return at times over the years. The average onset is about the age of 16, although depersonalization episodes can start anywhere from early to mid-childhood. Now, less than 20% of people with this disorder start experiencing episodes after the age of 20. Wow. Now, the last one, dissociative identity disorder. formerly known as multiple personality disorder. This disorder is characterized by alternating between multiple identities. A person may feel like one or more voices are trying to take control in their head. Often these identities may have unique names, characteristics, mannerisms, and voices. People with dissociative identity disorder will experience gaps in memory of everyday events, personal information, and trauma. They're going to experience gaps in those areas. Wow, it's interesting. Women are more likely to be diagnosed as they more frequently present with acute dissociative symptoms. Men are more likely to deny the symptoms and trauma histories and commonly exhibit more violent behavior rather than amnesia or, fugue, unclear states. This can lead to an elevated false of negative diagnosis as well. Now, they say the causes. Dissociative disorders usually develop as a way of dealing with trauma. Dissociative disorders most often form in childhood, exposed to long-term physical, sexual, or emotional abuse. Natural disasters and combat can also cause these dissociative disorders. Wow. Interesting. Doctors diagnose dissociative disorders based on a review of symptoms and personal history. A doctor may perform tests to rule out physical conditions that can cause symptoms such as memory loss and a sense of unreality, that could, come from a head trauma or brain lesions, tumors, or something like that. Or you freaking intoxicated, high or something. But they want to do the evaluations before they and rule out those type of conditions before they actually make a clinical diagnosis. So if the physical causes are ruled out and a mental health specialist is often consulted, to make an evaluation, and he sees those things in place, hey, you probably gonna get a diagnosis. Okay, so many features of dissociative disorders can be influenced by a person's cultural background as well. In the case of dissociative identity disorder with dissociative amnesia, patients may present an unexplained non-epileptic seizure, paralysis, or sensory loss. The settings where possession is part of a cultural belief, the fragmented identities of a person who has dissociative disorder may take the form of spirits, deities, demons, or animals. Y'all hear that? Okay. Now, see, then, and that's why there's a thin line right here. This is kind of like where I get off the bus a little bit. Oh, but anyway, intercultural contact, because there's a difference between the spiritual world and the carnal world. And Western civilization does not give a lot of credence to the spiritual world. And I think that is one of the reasons why we are in such turmoil. Because we don't pay homage to our spirit. And that the spirit in the spirit world is just as real as what you think is real. So, some of these things are diagnosed and they may seem like a deficit. In another world, they're not at all. Okay, so let me go here. For example, a person in India exposed to Western culture may present with an alter who only speaks English. In cultures with highly restrictive social conditions, amnesia is frequently triggered by a severe psychological stress, such as conflict caused by oppression. Now, you hear that? In cultures with highly restrictive social conditions, black people, amnesia is frequently triggered by a severe psychological stress, such as conflict, and that is caused by oppression. Finally, voluntarily induced states of depersonalization can be a part of a meditative practices. and is prevalent in many religions and cultures, and should not be diagnosed as a disorder. Thank you. Because that's what I was trying to say. I just didn't say it as eloquently as this person right here. So, finally, voluntarily induced states of depersonalization can be a part of a meditative practice. So if you meditate, that can be part of your mantra, just part of your everyday state of vibrating. Many religions and cultures practice these things, and they should not be diagnosed as a disorder. All right. So of course there's medications to treat that, and then that depends on the person itself. I'm not really a big fan of psych meds because there are other alternatives, acupuncture, more exercise, and I think that a lot of times that's where you need a full evaluation by a physical doctor. So with that being said, you guys, I hope that was some information that you could use about dissociative disorders. Okay, because a lot of people in the society suffer with dissociative disorders. All right, so if you guys again would like to find some help in your town, get in touch with the National Alliance for the Mentally Ill, and they can probably hook you up with an anonymous person. Well, you can be in a situation where you don't have to give your real name and whatever until you feel comfortable. And that number is 1-800-950-NAMI, which is an acronym from National Alliance Mentally Ill. Okay, National Alliance on Mental Illness is what it is. All right. So with that being said, you guys, I want you to go out and make it a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the Mental House. Again, thank each and every one of you who wished me a happy born day. I really appreciate it. And may God bless and keep you. And I'll see you next time right here in the dang on Mental House. Bye-bye.